So not that long ago, I made a video discussing why Bowser is the perfect enemy for Mario, and I had a lot of fun making that video. And I really wanted to make more videos like this where I just sat down and discussed the relationship between other characters that I happen to be fans of when it comes to all those different franchises that I'm into. And I thought to myself, I might as well talk about The Legend of Zelda. And when it comes to The Legend of Zelda, I might as well talk about Link and Ganon's relationship within the series itself, because ever since the very first Zelda game, Link and Ganon have been butting heads. So it would be nice to discuss in this video why Ganon is the perfect enemy for Link. So I'm super excited to give my thoughts on this. So if you guys have anything you want to say when it comes to Ganon and Link's relationship within the Legend of Zelda series, as always, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm always curious to hear what sort of thoughts that you guys have that you want to share with me as well. So probably the very first thing I do want to talk about when it comes to Link and Ganon's relationship within The Legend of Zelda is their contrasting values and goals between each other, because Link has different values and goals, and Ganon has different values of goals, which makes them completely different characters, which is a good thing because it just helps build the relationship between both of these characters. And when it comes to Link as a character, like just sitting down and talking about who he is as an individual, just showcasing the values that Link has, Link is shown to be a very brave, wise, and strong character. And throughout each game that we see Link in, he's always driven by the desire to protect what's right. And with Ganon, he's a completely different character, because I never ever expect Ganon to go down that direction, where he pretty much runs on greed, hatred, and hunger for destruction that pretty much fuels every decision that he makes that we've seen in a lot of these Zelda games. And because of that very reason, it creates this interesting conflict between good and evil that's played out in many games, not just Legend of Zelda, but just a known concept between good and evil that's very well known when we see a hero and villain clash with each other. So when it comes to the values between both of these characters, that's what represents the both of them, so they're complete opposites of one another. And of course, Link and Ganon are always going to have different goals for one another, because Link and Ganon aren't ever going to see eye to eye for one another, because they really wouldn't make sense given the kind of people that they truly are. Because like we've seen with Link every single time throughout each Zelda game, he always wants to do the best that he possibly can to keep Hyrule safe, and also the people safe as well. And with Ganon, as we've seen numerous times, because Ganon's always remained the same character when it comes to the goals that he wants to achieve within the series, he always craves nothing but complete domination, where he always creates this twisted desire to conquer everything that he comes in contact with and rule over the ashes of everything that he's destroyed. If I were to give an example from a game that represents this very well, it would probably have to be The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. But pretty much what we saw in that game is when Link was desperately trying to stop Ganon from going forward with all of these evil plans that he had in mind, because Ganondorf wanted to plunge Hyrule into complete darkness. So if it wasn't for Link getting involved, then Hyrule would have never been saved. And because of that, it creates opposing objectives between both of these characters, which makes it crystal clear who the good guy in all of this, which, as we know, is Link. And one of the interesting things when it comes to any character in a video game, TV series, or even movies as well, or even books if you want to throw that in there as well, is the personalities and motivations for that said character. And when it comes to Link and Ganon, they both have very interesting personalities and motivations that really make them stand out. Because when it comes to Link, like we've seen many times within The Legend of Zelda, he's very brave and selfless. In Ganondorf, he's a power-hungry egomaniac, and he also has a heart that's cold as ice. So because of this very reason, their personalities make their interactions very interesting, as we've seen within these Legend of Zelda games. Because if I were to use Twilight Princess as an example, Ganondorf's arrogance throughout the games itself pretty much blinds him when it comes to Link's true potential, where Ganondorf pretty much let his guard down and he underestimated Link because his humble demeanor, which is why things ended up the way it did within Twilight Princess. And also these characters have different motivations as well, because as we've seen many times within The Legend of Zelda, Link's pretty much a beacon of hope within the series, where he's always driven by a sense to protect everybody around him. That's why he always wants to protect Hyrule and all of its people. And Ganondorf is just a slave to his hunger for his power and control, because we've seen within the Breath of the Wild where Link does everything that he possibly can to save Hyrule and its people, so he could bring hope. And in contrast of that, Ganondorf does everything that he possibly can to tear it down, relishing the idea of ruling over the ruins. So that's why it's really good to have both characters have different personalities and motivations that really drive their character, so you get a good understanding of exactly who they are as people and what they're striving for. Another thing I want to bring up as well is the power dynamic between Link and Ganon, because it's also very different as well. Because when it comes to Link, we've seen that he wields the Master Sword. That's pretty much the main sword that you always end up wielding towards the end of the game. And he also has the Triforce of Courage, which pretty much symbolizes his heroism, as he's shown many times within the series. And with Ganondorf, he has a perfect contra with that, where he possesses dark magic, which pretty much has a corrupting power of the Triforce of Power. And we've seen in games before, like A Link to the Past, where he highlighted this power struggle, where the Master Sword was the only weapon capable of defeating Ganon, which represented the contrast between their abilities in the forces that they represent. And they're also moral opposites of each other as well, where it's always a waging war for the very soul of Hyrule, because Link embodies light, hope, and an unwavering goodness of his character. And Ganondorf, he's the embodiment of darkness, despair, and has a twisted version of ambition. And what we've seen within the Ocarina of Time perfectly captures this, because Link's pure heart allowed him to wield the Master Sword, while Ganondorf's darkness corrupted him from within, like we saw towards the end of that game once Ganondorf becomes Beast Ganon. And also, there's a lot of history between both of these characters, which makes sense because of this very reason. That's why we have all of these different kinds of Zelda games, because that's what really drives the whole narrative of the series. Because when it comes to Mario and Bowser, just like how I mentioned in the previous video I did, Link and Ganon's battles are also very legendary as well, because each encounter between Link and Ganon also adds another character to their epic saga, because within each game the stakes get higher and Ganondorf gets even more hungry for revenge, and Link even adds more determination to protect Hyrule. So because of the rich history of that conflict that Ganon and Link share with each other, it adds depth to their rivalry, which makes every battle feel like a continuation or a long-standing war, as we've seen showcased within the series. Because The Legend of Zelda has different timelines that we explore, and we've seen multiple interactions between Link and Ganon. And there's always a problem that gets created between both of these characters, keeps their battles going on and on and on again, as we've seen being showcased within each of these Legend of Zelda games that have been releasing over the years. So that's why I was really happy today just to sit down and discuss the differences between Link and Ganon, because like I said, Ganon is the perfect enemy for Link, because if it isn't for who Ganon truly is as a character, then Link wouldn't strive to be the kind of person that we've known him to be. So that's why when it comes to both of them clashing, it just creates an interesting conflict that we've seen within the series itself, which makes it very compelling, and it always wants us to dive in and play all these different kinds of games because of everything that's going on. So I'm glad that I was able to give my thoughts on the relationship, because like I said, I happen to be a really big fan of The Legend of Zelda. So it's nice for me to just sit down here and give my thoughts on Link and Ganon's relationship, because these are two characters that I care a lot about, and I just love talking about the both of them because of how much they mean to me. But overall, those are all my thoughts when it comes to Link and Ganon in The Legend of Zelda. So I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Like I mentioned earlier, like what is your thoughts on Link and Ganon's relationship when it comes to how they are within the Legend of Zelda series? Like, what is your thoughts on their personalities? Like, what are your thoughts on their motivations and goals that they set for themselves? Just be sure to let me know all your thoughts on anything in general when it comes to this topic between both of these characters in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And also, if you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my Twitter, my TikTok, my Facebook, and my Instagram. All of that is located in the description below. Also, be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are fully aware of whenever a new video gets uploaded on the channel. But other than that, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.